All right, folks, sorry for the technical difficulty. Sheriff Joe Arpaio will join us momentarily. Maricopa County, Arizona sheriff for the past 21 years, known across the country as America's toughest sheriff. And we have a lot to discuss with him. First of all, our defense secretary, Chuck Hagel, said today that there were about 100 U.S. fighters, 100 Americans that are fighting with ISIS. We have another report today at Newsmax.com about an ex-CIA agent saying that ISIS is in America and some have entered from our southern border. Now, there should be no surprise there because we know that it's possible to enter from our southern border with an Osama bin Laden mask on, and nobody will stop you. As a matter of fact, you could go back and forth, as James O'Keefe did and told us about on this very show, time and time again, and no one will stop you. So we have that issue, that problem. I'm looking at a report here at cnsnews.com that ICE has released 169 illegal aliens who have been convicted of homicide-related crimes. 169 illegal aliens who have been convicted of homicide-related crimes have been released by ICE. Another story talks about a judge who has set a hearing date for whether or not a 17-year-old illegal can stay in this country. You know when that hearing date is? In the year 2018, 4 years from now. So he gets to stay in the country seeking asylum for 4 years, and then he will be due in court. All right, we're joined by Sheriff Joe, but first I want us all to watch and listen to this.
The information is there's an attack coming very soon. It's planned for the border. It may involve car bombs and other types of vehicle explosives, and that agencies, Department of Homeland Security, Defense, and Justice have been told to work their leads and to try to prevent these threats. And I just don't understand, well, actually I do understand why D.C. is downplaying this. Oftentimes the agencies don't even know what they're doing, and certainly the leadership is often behind the 8-ball as opposed to the people on the front lines who are frantically trying to prevent anything bad from happening.
And that's Tom Fitton, the head of Judicial Watch, talking about the threat from the southern border when it comes to terrorists entering this country, and specifically ISIS. And joining us now is Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Hello, Sheriff.
How you doing?
Welcome back. Great to talk to you again. Let's start with this report and the threat of ISIS and other terrorists, but specifically ISIS coming through the Mexican border. We have reports from a former CIA agent, Bob Baer, telling CNN that ISIS is already here and speculating that many of them could have come through the Mexican border. Does that surprise you in any way?
Well, I'm hoping that if he has that information, he'll pass it on to me, since I've been covering that border for 32 years as a head of the federal drug enforcement in Mexico, South America, Central, Texas, Arizona. Now, sheriff for 22 years. I said from the beginning a few weeks ago that it's a 2,000-mile border, and you never know who's going to cross that border, especially with all the media attention throughout the year, especially in the political season. Do you think that they don't watch media over in the Middle East? So they probably have the perception, or it could be true, that they know they can cross that border very easily. So there's always that possibility that they're crossing into the United States, either through Mexico, actually through Mexico probably, maybe through South America, Central America, and then coming across the Mexican-U.S. border, or going from South America to Florida.
And if they were doing that, you say you would like the information passed on to you, but if they were doing that, how would they be stopped?
You mean if they're crossing the border?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we'll never secure the border 100%. And by the way, just now I'm sending another letter to the Inspector General of Homeland Security because every month I put out statistics, and today, the past 8 months actually, to show that 3,000 inmates in my jails for all different types of crime, attempted murder, you name it, that we we give to ICE to be deported. And guess what? 36% keep coming back over and over again for other crimes. So either they're being let out on the streets in the Phoenix area, or they're being deported, and they keep coming back over and over again. So I want an answer. And this month, we have another 350, and 37% we turn over to ICE have come back throughout the year. So there's something wrong with the policies of the Homeland Security and ICE and the federal government. So how are they going to keep? They can't even keep track of all these people that are booked into my jail and then turn over. How are they going to keep track of all these people coming in from a foreign country? And by the way, I have said this over and over again. You will never secure the border 100%. You must do this job overseas in foreign countries like I used to do when I was over there, being operational, working with the military. So we ought to be sending the military across the border or the Border Patrol and work with the Mexican government and stop all this garbage before it gets into the United States.
But
That's
Sheriff, the government of Mexico, if I'm not mistaken, because I never saw one of these, but I've seen them online. They hand out DVDs and information to their citizens on the ones they want out of their country, on how to circumvent the Border Patrol, how to get through the border, how to get into our country, what to say when they get here so they could stay here. Am I not right?
Well, I'll tell you, way back in '69, G. Gordon Liddy and I led an operation under Nixon to just about close the border for 2 weeks with the threat foreign aid will be taken away. So if they're not going to do the job in Mexico, we ought to take away their foreign aid and get them going, and then they will do the job, maybe.
Yeah, I'd like to see that threat also for our Marine who's being held there, Sergeant Tamarisi, who is rotting in prison for no reason as well. What do you think, Sheriff, the President is going to do, and how will it affect your job with regard to the prediction of amnesty with his executive order pen? You know, Luis Gutierrez, the congressman from Illinois, keeps telling us, get ready, it's coming, it's coming. Do you think that either prior to the midterms or right after the midterms he will sign that executive order? And if he does, what will it mean?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised he started out with the DREAM Act. You know, I'm against amnesty. I wouldn't be surprised him chippying around Congress to send a message, especially, you know, in a political year. But I'm going to keep doing my job. We still go into workplaces and lock people up that have fake ID. They all happen to be here from, you know, illegally here in our country. I got the Department of Justice. After 100 days that Obama took office, they went after me, and they're still after me. Took away my authority, 160 officers that I have trained by ICE. So they're trying to chip me around, and some court decisions don't help either. So you can see what's going on. But maybe, just maybe, this threat of terrorists coming over across that border may stimulate some interest. Who knows?
I got a story here on cnsnews.com about a 17-year-old illegal facing an immigration judge. And he's seeking asylum because he says if he goes back to his host country, he'll be tortured. And the immigration judge gave him a hearing. He has to come back to court in 4 years, which is a big joke. Any of these court hearings, you know, tell the people to come back as a joke, because I think 90% of them never come back. But what on earth is the judge trying to prove or say by telling the kid to come back in 4 years?
Well, I don't know. If he told them to come back in 30 days, they still would not come back.
Right.
Come on. They can't, as I said, they can't keep track of all these people in the jails that I run, and they're released, and they keep coming back for serious crimes. You think you're going to get to track these kids from Central America?
What about the kids?
Another thing.
Go ahead. What about the kids? I mean, they're all over the country, and congressmen. We just had Cheryl Atkinson on. Congressmen can't even get information about where they are, who they are, where they've been taken. I mean, this is insane.
Well, you know, I go back to foreign countries. I worked in the Middle East, in Turkey, in the Middle East, so I remember those days when I was over there. But let me put it this way. The State Department, the U.S. ambassador, the CIA, where were they? You think they didn't know in Central America that all these kids were going to come across the border? If they didn't know, there's a problem with them. If they did know, why wasn't something done about it before they reached the Mexican-U.S. border? So if they didn't know, how do you think they're going to track terrorists? Which could have been, there could have been some terrorists coming across at the same time.
At the same time, yeah, absolutely. Sheriff, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio, ladies and gentlemen. And, yeah, 8 months, 3,000 inmates. They give them to ICE, and they're supposed to be deported. And 36% of them come back. That's just total insanity. But that's the situation. That's the situation. And it's very, very bad. But with people like Sheriff Arpaio keeping it in the spotlight and fighting the good fight, maybe down the road there's hope. It won't happen with this president or this administration, but maybe there is hope. Okay, folks, next up, we'll be joined by the Executive Vice President of the NRA. Wayne LaPierre will be here on the Steve Malzberg Show, only on Newsmax Television.